everyone, welcome to Bookish Nook. Today I wanted to do a pretty special video, and that is I wanted to talk about some young adult feminist novels that are out and that are coming out, since feminist books are sort of all the rage right now. So first off, I'm going to start talking about some of the books I've read and giving you some of my thoughts on it, and then I'm going to talk about some of the books that I am anticipating that are coming out pretty soon. So when talking about any sort of feminist books, you have to start with The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood. I read this back in high school and it blew me away. I've never read anything like it, and I probably never will again because it is perfection. I rated it 5 out of 5 stars, and it's about a society where the birth rates are declining, so women are valued depending on their ability to bear children. Our main character, Offred, her job is to lay on her back once a month and pray that the commander gets her pregnant. She is given very limited amount of freedom, and her livelihood is based on being pregnant. It is a fantastic novel. If you haven't read it, you should definitely check it out. You will not be disappointed. It hits on so many relevant topics even today, despite it being published so long ago, so now if you check it out. The second book I want to talk about is Salvage by Alexandra Duncan, and if you've been on this channel a little bit, you know that I did not like this book, but I'm going to talk about it anyways. Because it is described as The Handmaid's Tale meets Across the Universe by Beth Revis, and I ended up giving it a 2 out of 5 stars simply because I felt like a lot of the feminist aspects of this book were sort of brushed aside. I really wish they would have been more at the forefront of the story, but it's still an enjoyable story. So the story follows a girl who lives on a very male-dominated spaceship, and the women are given very little freedom. They're told who to marry and what to do, and their lives are pretty much controlled by these men. And our main character faces banishment after she takes her life into her own hands, and the story sort of unfolds from there. I really wish it would have focused more on the culture on the ship, but it doesn't. But it's still there, and it's still a very interesting read because you watch our main character go through changes as she becomes more independent and thinks more for herself than before, when she was pretty much just told what to do and she accepted it without question. It's still a fantastic novel. You should definitely check it out if you are interested. There are some raving reviews for it, and there's coming out with a second book called Sound, which doesn't release until September 22nd, 2015, but it follows a girl who is a research assistant on a spaceship sort of thing, and it gets attacked and she has to go out and save her brother, etc. So yeah, this does sound interesting. I'm going to pick it up despite not being impressed with the first one. Hopefully I enjoy the second one more. The third book that I want to talk about is The Jewel by Amy Ewing. I ended up giving this a 4 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed it. This book is described as The Handmaid's Tale meets The Selection by Kiera Cass. Although I've never read The Selection, I did really enjoy this book, and I can kind of see the parallels considering that's sort of like The Bachelor. And this is kind of like that as well. The Jewel follows a world where they live in sort of like a circular sort of society, and each ring of the circle denotes a certain social class. The middle, called the Jewel, denotes the most privileged, the most rich, and each outer ring, as you go further and further, denotes the more and more poor. On the outskirts ring, there are schools where women and young girls, are made to frequent, where they can develop this power, and they have the power to change the shape of objects, change the color, etc. And if you have this power, you are forced to go to the school, develop your power, and then you are auctioned off to the highest bidder to the jewel. The better your scores are, the more likely you'll be auctioned off to a better house. Our main character is auctioned off, of course, and you sort of follow her story from there, where her job is to produce children, so that is why she is auctioned off. They are the most fertile, and they have this power that allows them to have children that the sort of royals want. There are a lot of disturbing scenes in this book. I'm not going to get into them because they're a little spoilery. Not disturbing in the sense that they're bloody and gory, it's just the idea that they're portraying. I really enjoyed this. I really wish the world building was sort of built upon more. But there is a sequel coming out soon. I'm not really sure when. But yes, this is a fantastic book, and it definitely lives up to the comparison. Now the last book that I want to talk about that's already released, I have not personally read it, although I do really want to read it, and that is The Bermuda Triangles by Maureen Johnson. And this follows three best friends who've been best friends forever, but one of them leaves before their senior year of high school for the summer, and she comes back and her two other best friends have fallen in love. And I guess the story follows sort of their development and their sort of understanding and try to figure out how to continue as best friends with two of them are dating, and especially since it is a lesbian relationship, what to do with that. And there are some pretty great reviews, so I'm definitely excited to check it out. It sounds fantastic. Here are some of the books that I'm most excited for. First off, we have All the Rage by Courtney Summers. This comes out April 14th. So this follows a story of a young girl who I think attends a party and something happens to her, and she's from the wrong side of the town, and what happens to her is done by the Golden Boy, the sheriff's son, who is seen as the ultimate good boy, and all the parents want their daughters to be with him, although he's technically not that good. More things happen to other girls, and our main character has to fight with whether or not to speak up and pretty much save other girls from this happening to them, or to remain in silence. She doesn't have the best reputation, so what she has to say may not be accepted by all, and she has to sort of face the consequences. I am so excited for this. This sort of reminds me of the Steubenville rape case. If you are not familiar with that, I will leave a link to some sort of news article describing it, but this book sounds fantastic. The next book is The Glass Arrow by Kristen Summers. This already came out. This is The Handmaid's Tale meets Blood Red Road. And if you know anything about Blood Red Road, you know that it's really gritty, and our main character in that story is a badass. So this follows a world where, once again, the birth rates are low, so women are hunted and auctioned off to the highest bidder based on their fertility. And our main character in the story is sort of on the run, and she's in the forest on the run, but once she gets captured, it becomes an all-new game of survival. And this sounds phenomenal. I cannot wait to read this. I completely forgot that it already came out, so I'm gonna have to go pick it up. But this sounds fantastic. It's gotten some pretty great reviews so far, so I can't wait to read it. The next book is The Devil You Know by Trish Dollar, I think it is. This comes out June 2nd, and this follows a girl who has pretty much her life together, but she wants to feel excitement and feel adventure. So she goes on a sort of road trip with two guys, and one of them turns out to be something very different than what he portrayed himself to be. This is sort of like a thriller, suspense sort of book. It sounds phenomenal. Some of the reviews I've read on Goodreads were pretty great. Especially being in a thriller kind of genre, and in the young adult genre there isn't that many great thrillers, so I'm hoping that this one pans out. So that is just a small taste of what the feminist genre, young adult genre, has to offer. There are lots of other great books, as I'm sure there are, so leave some recommendations for me down below. I found most of these books on a link from Book Riot, I think, so I'll leave a link down below so you can check it out. They talk about some that are already released and even more that are not released. So, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video.